Tea Partiers see themselves in the tradition of the original Boston Tea Party. What they are united in standing up for is the principle of constitutional government, the rule of law. In the United States, under the Constitution we have, this is the principle of limited government. I think people see that we're really here at a hinge of history. We're going to go in one direction or the other. We're either going to go in the direction of European-style social democracies, or we're going to go back in the direction of limited government under our Constitution. The Tea Partiers are very clear about where they want to be. Now, those who favor European-style social democracies are not bad people. That's a legitimate point of view. It happens to be not one that I share, but it's a legitimate point of view. The argument can be made. But the argument can also be made, and I believe it's a powerful argument, it's the argument that Tea Partiers are making, that the real future of America, the best future for ourselves and our children, is to go back in the direction of limited government restrained by the Constitution. So what the Tea Partiers are standing for is constitutional principle. It's not fundamentally about tax rates or whether to have a consumption tax or an income tax. It's about adherence to the Constitution and the principle of limited government.
Well, the Tea Party, their battle cry is not coincidental, that they rallied against taxation without representation. And that is such an egregious violation by this current government and has been metastasizing for years. Certainly nobody can stand up and go, yeah, they're spending our tax dollars really good. They're very accountable. There's no accountability. That was the battle cry of the original Tea Party, and it's the battle cry of this Tea Party, but it's only the tip of the culture war spear. The government is out of control. The corruption is absolutely vulgar at this point. Power corrupts, and there's way too much corrupted power. So we the people, just like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, stand up and monitor the government that is supposed to work for us. That's what the Tea Party represents. It's so simple. It's stupid.
So, Dr. King, before I get to what I think Dr. Martin Luther King did brilliantly, let's talk a little bit about the culture of the 60s. You talked about how it was out of control on all fronts and reflects today's culture in many ways.
Yes.
But it was, I mean, I don't think I've never considered going to jail before. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've never considered that. And my wife and I have had a conversation recently going, I think these guys could just say, you know what, something happened, you caused it, get your butt in jail. And I started thinking about Martin Luther King. What was that like? Because you went to jail.
I actually went to jail too. My Uncle Martin went to jail several times. My father, Reverend A.D. King, his brother, was jailed often, especially in Birmingham. And our home was bombed in Birmingham and all of that. When I went to jail, we were demonstrating and we were marching. And we had a covenant or an agreement that we would not be violent and that we would conduct ourselves in a certain way. One of my friends was thrown down by the police officers, and they began to kick her. And so I went to rescue her, and there actually was a tussle. And so in the midst of that, I went to jail, and I remember calling home crying, and I said, Daddy, come and get me. He says, no, why don't you just take the night in jail and think about what nonviolence really means. And so I already knew, but after that, I further committed myself.
I mean, that's a good part.
I was very committed because Daddy meant it. My Uncle Martin meant it. So to live in a time when you were jailed just because of the color of your skin and having the courage, like the Tea Party people.
God bless you.
I pray they don't end up in jail. But, speaking out with courage and conviction peacefully for what is right. And that's why they went to jail.
Back in just a second. We're back with Dr. Alveda King, niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., music legend Ted Nugent, and Princeton University's Robert George. I think we could do about 3 hours here because we're running out of time, but I have to get to this. And tomorrow on the show, I'm going to take you to this chalkboard. It is absolutely amazing. Tell me what this is.
Well, now, this is a pledge that we made during the days of the Civil Rights Movement. I've actually made the pledge myself. And there are 10 points, if I can move quickly.
Yep.
And you agree to meditate on the teachings of Jesus every day. Remember that the nonviolent movement seeks justice and reconciliation not victory, or not just victory. Walk and talk in the manner of love or charity, for God is love. Pray daily to be used by God. Sacrifice personal needs, and so greed has to go out of the window, because you have to believe God's going to take care of you, so you don't have to worry about that. Observe with both friend and foe the ordinary rules of courtesy. Seek to perform regular service for others and for the world. Refrain from the violence of fist, tongue, or heart, and heart is real important. Strive to be in good spiritual and bodily health, because how are you going to do all that marching if you're not in good health?
Amen.
And follow the directions of the movement and of the captain on a demonstration.
And if you marched, you had to sign.
If you marched, you had to sign it, and to keep yourself accordingly.
Cool.
This is the kind of thing that I think we need, and I'll be following this here in the next few days. Professor George, you said something?
No, I just said that's very beautiful, Alveda. Thank you for that.
I'm going to put that on my website.
I mean, that is
I got some
amazing.
activists.
Let me ask you this. Seeks justice and reconciliation, not victory.
Right.
Help me out in
Absolutely.
today's world.
Well, justice means that we want life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all people. If people are being downtrodden and mistreated, it's our obligation, it's our responsibility to speak out, not just for ourselves, but for others.
When we see others
so when we see
victimized.
others victimized, we must speak out. We have to seek justice
But
for
I'm saying
everybody.
reconciliation, not victory.
Well, reconciliation means in victory, I win and you're wrong.
Got
And
it.
then you lose. You're out.
Got it.
You're wrong. I hate you. I can't stand you. Reconciliation, with truth being the real winner. And when
We're
we're
all
on the side of
Americans after
truth,
all.
when truth emerges, then we reconcile ourselves to truth in unity and in charity or in love.
Robert,
And what Alveda is saying here is really deeply rooted in our Judeo-Christian civilization. The idea is that we don't seek to destroy our enemies. After all, Jesus taught that our love must extend even to enemies. It's a remarkable teaching. Not to destroy enemies, but to convert hearts, to win people over to the cause of justice.
Sounds
and
like the
truth.
10 Commandments and the Golden Rule to me.
Absolutely.
and it sounds like the opposite of what Malcolm X was doing at
Yeah.
first, and Martin Luther King. Malcolm X fails, Martin Luther King succeeds.
Yeah.
Back in a second. I have to apologize to all three of my guests because I've had one guest on this program that was a waste of an hour, and if I could get that hour back, I'd put it on right now. Dr. Alveda King is with us, music legend Ted Nugent, Princeton University's Robert George. I guess I want to ask this question. We only got about 2 minutes now, and I apologize to you three for bringing you in for this so short. I really thought if I could make the case, people would wake up and
They are.
and you show it. I know they are. They are. I'm talking, I guess, maybe about the media.
They aren't.
But what is they aren't? What? How do you get people who just are still playing politics? When you saw dogs attack, everybody in America went, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right, right.
Well, what is it that it's going to take?
When people saw the dogs, the guns, and the billy clubs, and yet the face of my uncle, my father, and a little later my face, and there was love and compassion there, it caused the human hearts to begin to melt. So the media has a responsibility, and we can't let them totally get away because they have to let the truth be seen and be told. So we have to have shows like yours. We have to have internet streaming with truth out there. We have to have folks who are peacefully protesting, telling the truth. And the heart of America will begin to melt in the face of truth and charity. It
I
really
think the
will.
far
It
left
will.
media represents the dogs attacking the protesters. Dr.
Hey, the
Martin.
far
Well,
left media is
the
going to
media-
have to start telling the truth.
The media
They're gonna
did
have
the
to.
same thing, though, in the 1960s.
They did for a very long time, and they would not report the truth. And finally, you had a few young members of the media who bravely began to say, they're telling the truth, we need to show this. And that's what happened.
All three of my guests, I can't thank you enough. God bless you. We'll be back. Final thoughts in a second. Bring that in, guys. I have to tell you, we only have a couple of seconds here, but I want to show you, I don't know if we can even get it back in. I have to show you this tomorrow. I was going to talk to you about the Anvil of Truth, 6 Principles of Nonviolence. You do not want to miss tomorrow's show. Don't miss it. From New York. Good night, America.